Hey guys, and welcome back to Silence the Podcast. This is season 2, episode 1. So, yes, I'm back. Silence is back. I'm ready to jump into season 2 and see what season 2 has in store for you and for me as you listen and you watch what my journey into my sophomore year is going to be like. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Before I get into all of that, we're going to pick up exactly where we left off, which was my last episode 2 months ago, season 1, episode 11, I believe. And that's where I basically recapped the final semester of my first year. I explained that I didn't like how it went. I was sad about the outcome of my first year overall and how I was just stressed out and stuff like that. So now I'm picking up from where I left off. As you guys know, if you watched Silence, if you're a returning listener, thank you for returning. If you watch Silence, then you know that I ended off my freshman year completely and utterly drained. Like when I got home from move out, I literally slept for 2 weeks. Like I didn't go out, I didn't see anyone, I didn't talk to anyone for the first 2 weeks of summer break because that's how drained and exhausted I was. And I really just needed a break and some time to decompress and really process everything that I had just went through. So I was still isolating myself for those first 2 weeks just to regroup and recuperate. The only time I really went outside was to get my hair and my lashes and my nails done because I needed to feel like someone again. I needed to feel like a person again. And that those forms of self-care are what I like to do to feel like myself again. Really the ending of May until mid-June was just me hanging out with some friends and catching up with people that I didn't see in a while. I would say it was pretty calm. I did realize a lot, and I realized how college and going away and stuff changed certain dynamics, but I'm not going to get into that on here. But yeah, long story short, after those first 2 weeks of me decompressing and isolating and just being by myself and really recuperating and getting all my energy back that was lost during my first year, especially the second semester. Then I started hanging out with friends, and then I studied abroad in London this summer. Yale in London is a program that I did, and I had the literal time of my life. London owes me nothing, and I will 110% be back. I quite literally had such a good experience that I know for a fact it's gonna be one of those things where I talk to my kids about in 10, 15 years and tell them this is all the stuff I did and this is how the experience was. It truly was one of the best experiences of my life, and it's definitely a core memory that I will always reflect back on. In fact, I want to get a tattoo that represents everything I experienced in that whole Yale in London and that whole chapter and phase of my life, because this summer is one for the books. And before I get into a little bit more of what the experience was like and what exactly I did and stuff like that, the real lore behind me even going to London and accepting my offer for the program is originally I did not want to go. Like I said, it was no secret that I had the worst freshman year, or one of the worst freshman years you could think of, from socially to mentally, physically, emotionally. The only thing that was good at the end of my freshman year was academically because I had no other choice, but everything else was shattered. And I really just wanted to take a break over the summer. So I was contemplating. I was like, do I accept this offer and do I go? Or do I stay home and just really get the break and the rest that I truly and really need? Because I wasn't going to London just to go to London. I was going to London to take 2 classes to potentially boost my GPA and, limit some of the classes I'll need to take back on campus. So I was really contemplating whether or not I wanted to sign myself up for this, just because I had went through such a traumatic and devastating experience. They were emailing me, letting me know that, hey, the deadline is approaching. What are you going to do? Are you going to accept the offer? Can we give the spot to someone else? And I was ignoring them because I was really so conflicted. And then eventually I said, you know what? I'm going to just take it, because when will I ever be 19 getting an offer to go to London for free ever again? Literally, when will I do that? So that's kind of the backstory of how I even ended up accepting it in the first place. And looking back, I'm 110% grateful that I ended up accepting the offer, because there were a lot of things that happened this summer that made me realize that staying in New York would have been terrible for my mental health, and it would have did the opposite of giving me a break. Just because, like I said, I realized so many things coming home from college and coming back to, my hometown and reconnecting and just seeing what everyone's been up to. And I know for a fact I wouldn't have had as much fun as I thought I was going to have if I stayed in New York over the summer. And I would have just continued to feel more isolated. And yeah, long story short, it was a lot of stuff that was happening in New York. And I was just like, I'm grateful I didn't stay. But fast forwarding into my London trip, I did stay there for 6 weeks and a lot happened in 6 weeks. But the first thing, obviously, I want to say is I'm so appreciative of Yale and the funding that they gave me for that like whole experience, because this was the first time in my life that a school has ever taken care of me. Like, this was the first time in my academic career, in my life in general, all 19 years I've been on this planet, all 15 years now, 14 years that I've been in academia and I've been going to school, that a school has taken care of me and held up their end of the bargain. I've always went to school, did what I had to do, learned what I had to do, discussed, wrote papers, analyzed, got the good grades. I've done what I needed to do since I started school. But my schools have never held up the end of the bargain. They never offered me any life-changing experiences. They never gave me funding. I've always had to claw and fight for myself and advocate for myself to get these, cool experiences, because they weren't giving it under the notion that they didn't have the money. So long story short, I've just never had a school take care of me the way Yale took care of me. I literally stayed in an apartment. I literally had an entire apartment to myself in London for 6 weeks that was fully paid for by Yale. They paid the rent for the apartment. They paid for my flight to and from London. They paid for the school that I was taking the classes, or the center that I was taking the classes at. Like, they gave me extra money on top of that. And these are like big numbers, like 4-figure numbers that this school gave me to put my academics to work and to really get in the field and really see the world. And that is something that none of my other schools have. So I'm just really grateful for my privilege and my status as a Yale student. And I'm grateful for the opportunity to even have had done this, because what other school was going to allow me to do that? Like, let's be for real. So like I said, I lived in my own apartment for 6 weeks, literally fully furnished, 1-bedroom apartment, and modern at that. Not no shabby, ran down building that's about to fall apart. Like, no, everything modern, everything glass showers, gray, white, modern stuff, pops of blue and orange here and there. Like, it was a beautiful apartment. And I would say this experience was so transformative for me, because this was the first time that I really gotten to be an adult and see what being an adult looks like on my own. Like, yes, I was in college on my own, but I definitely say it was different because I was still living with other people, and it wasn't like I had to really fend for myself. Like, I was still going to the dining hall where they made all of my meals for me, and I didn't really have to do anything else. But in London, I was responsible for cooking and, going to the market every day, making sure I'm getting all the groceries that I need. Not really cleaning, because the apartment came with weekly housekeeping. But even then, like, I was still keeping up with my space, because first of all, I don't even really like jobs like that make other people do or clean up or pick up after someone else. Like, I always really felt weird about the whole having maids and having a housekeeping thing, because nothing is wrong with me to the point where I can't clean behind myself. And it just made me feel weird knowing that it's someone else's job to clean up behind me. So I really didn't try to like leave a whole big mess for them with the mindset of, oh, someone's getting paid to clean this. Like, no, I still did the laundry. I still made sure everything was spick and span. The only thing they really did was mopped and swept and exchanged my linen every week. Other than that, I really tried to keep up with it myself. Then on top of that, the group of people I was with, I'm not going to lie, they really made the experience, because from what I've learned, when you are experiencing something with another person or with a group of people, it's very important the type of people that they are, because they can either make or break the entire experience. And I would definitely say I'm very grateful for the people that I was with, because even though it was a variety of people in terms of interests, in terms of, socioeconomic status, in terms of race and gender and sexuality and stuff like that, I would say we definitely meshed well, and we were able to find ways to connect or educate each other about each other's interests or cultures or ideas and stuff like that. So I definitely feel like we meshed well together, and it was great getting to know them. And obviously we're all Yale students, but I sincerely hope that we're able to, keep up our bond and relationship that we formed in London, even at Yale, like back in the States, because I definitely really, really, really enjoyed getting to know them and getting to bond with them over the course of the 6 weeks. And on top of that, there's no real lore from that trip either. Like, there was no major drama, no big blowout fight argument. Like, no, everything was pretty cool, calm, and collected all 6 weeks. And I definitely feel like That's rare, especially when you have all different people from all different cultures and backgrounds with different opinions and stuff like that. But other than that, it was great. And then on top of that, the classes, originally I was concerned as well, because I'm like, Yale in London, like Yale in America is already intimidating, but Yale in London fake sound even worse. And then on top of that, I didn't know if the professors would be on like a power trip in terms of, oh, like, you know, we're gonna make it extra hard because I don't want these kids to come here with the mindset of, oh, this is just going to be fun and a silly little class over the summer for an easy A. I thought they was going to come in with a chip on their shoulder, but neither of my professors did. I took 2 courses and both of them were really sweet, down to earth, nice, and genuinely like, you know, good people. And I definitely picked up on that from the very first weeks that I was there, which is another thing I was grateful for, because I could have got there and they could have been on some whole other shit, trying to make our lives miserable for those 6 weeks. And I could definitely say it was a great balance of study and abroad. So we weren't in class all day, every day. Like, we had ample amount of time to explore, do what we want to do, really see and explore London. So that was a plus as well. Then, speaking of personal exploration, I did get to see a lot of London. I got to travel to a few different cities nearby. And on top of that, I just got to do a lot of shopping for myself and my loved ones. I got to see Drake twice in London. Now, if you know me, if you follow me on social media, anything of that nature, I am Drake's biggest fan. Like, I could literally write a whole thesis on why I'm his biggest fan and on why nobody else is his biggest fan. Like, me and Drake really been locked in since I was able to comprehend music. Like, before I even had a phone, I used to memorize, or at least try to memorize, Drake's lyrics to certain songs. And then when I finally got a phone and I realized that, like, oh, like, this is the person that I'm singing, like, this is who Drake is, we've been locked in ever since. So like literally 3rd, 4th grade, it's really been me and Drake. So the fact that I got the once in a lifetime opportunity to go and see Drake twice in London, like just 2 years ago, I was saying like, oh, I don't know how I'll ever be able to see Drake because like, where am I going to afford it? And then I got the chance to see him last year, right after I got accepted into Yale. And then the year later, I'm literally seeing him twice in the in London, of all places. Like, it's just unreal. So just to wrap this little segment up of my overall, you know, reflections of London, I truly feel like the people that planned and organized the trip did such a good job. I could definitely tell that they had us in mind while they were planning. I feel like that's another thing that could either make or break a study abroad experience, because if the people are planning it for like in an adult mindset, or with the mindset of, oh, these are Yale students, they can handle anything and everything, as opposed to, at the end of the day, these are other people's children that are exploring the world for the first time, a lot of us, or at the end of the day, these are just young teenagers that, you know, are trying to explore the world and figure out themselves and are trying this whole adulting thing. So I definitely feel like it was well planned and well curated for, like, you know, young people, young adults. And on top of that, I definitely feel like they gave us a lot of resources and a lot of support throughout the entire time we were there. Transportation all around the city was covered by them on top of that. So it's like, we really didn't have to come out of pocket for anything, at least if you were on financial aid. I feel like it was definitely needed, and it was definitely meant for me to be in London this summer, because like I said, I was not meant to stay in New York. And then on top of that, Yale in London, like, the program was not the only one I applied to. I applied to a few internships and stuff like that, but this was the only one that really like felt like stuck. So I'm just happy, and it really gave me a chance and like a break to really feel joy again, to feel happy, to have fun with learning and exploring, to go abroad again, because I went abroad in 2023 for like with a whole different program, but that was like on a whole lesser scale than what I just did. So yeah, it was great. It was well needed. It gave me the little glimpse into what I would be like as an adult, like full-blown adult, living by myself, own apartment, everything. And let's just say I'm going to be more than good. I'm going to be more than good once I'm like at that point in my life where I'm fully on my own and 100,000% independent. Like, I'm going to be good. And that's just something I'm really proud of. And London helped me see that. So I'll forever remember that experience. I'll forever be grateful for it. And I'll forever be talking about it, because that's how still amazed to this day that I am that I got to do it. What's next? So clearly the day that I'm filming this is currently Wednesday, August 13th. And basically what's next is I'm going back to school in 2 days. Now, I just want to address this really quick, because I feel like throughout season 1 of Silence, people were confused. Like, am I dropping out of Yale? Am I taking a break? Like, am I not going back? Am I taking a gap year or a gap semester? Long story short, I'm going back. If you're expecting me to say, oh my God, like I'm so excited to go back, I'm so excited to be on campus and go back to classes, you're delusional. Because that's not the real, that's not the reality, that's not what I'm feeling, what I'm thinking about, what I'm going through right now. So I'm just gonna lay it out. I'm just gonna lay it out on the table. If I sat here and told y'all that I was happy to go back to school, I would be a dead ass liar. Like, I'm the opposite of happy. I already feel the overwhelmed, like I already feel myself overwhelmed and anxious even thinking about going back. And truth be told, like if I didn't have to go back right now, I wouldn't. And I'm not saying like I would drop out. Like I would probably take a break, or I don't know what I would do, but the sole reason that I'm going back in the fall, that I'm going to continue my education, is because I don't have any other choice. And obviously, like you might be thinking, oh, we all have free will. Yeah, I guess you can say that. Do we? Not really, but that's a whole other story for a different day. I'm choosing to continue my education because I have no other choice. And what I mean by that is I don't have nothing else to fall back on. And especially in the times that we're living in right now, in the country we're living in, and just what is going on in the world right now, to not be educated is one of the most dangerous things you can do for yourself and the people around you. But not only like on a general sense, on a personal level. If you've been a returning listener, or if you follow me on social media, whatever the case may be, then you know that the whole end goal, as far as I could think ahead of right now, is I'm going to law school and I will be an attorney. So stopping or taking a break or dropping out, all of that would just delay or prevent me from being able to achieve my goals. And I know that I am very endurant. All the things I've been through in life, all the things I've been through within the past year, within the past 6 months, even has built my mental and emotional endurance to the point where I feel like I can handle anything. Now, that's not to say I do want to handle everything and anything, because I feel like I've been on the strongest soldiers list for like the past 7 years of my life. But that's just all to say that like I feel like what I went through my first year, yes, it was terrible. Yes, you couldn't pay me to relive that shit. Yes, I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. But at the end of the day, I feel like I have a little bit more of like juice left in me to keep going, to keep fighting, to keep pushing, because that's what I have to do. I don't have generational wealth to like lean back on if shit went left, or if I didn't want to do this anymore. And I don't have, hidden wealth or hidden connections. And I'm not like a Nepo baby where mommy and daddy could do everything for me and just put my names and doors for me. Like, no, I really got to get this shit out the mud. Like, I really got to do this shit by myself on my own. So yeah, going back is not an option, but I will definitely say like I'm not excited to go back at all, but I'm doing it because I have to. Every time I talk about not wanting to go back, people are like very confused, and it's kind of a confusing emotion for me, because I'm very grateful for the position I'm in, and I will continue to say that to this very day, regardless of what I went through. I'm very grateful to have been a Yale student for the past year. I'm very grateful to say I go to Yale and I'm getting a Yale education, because trust me, it truly, truly, truly is one of a kind. Like, you're just not getting this education from just anywhere, and you're not getting this experience from just anywhere. But at the same time, and like I said in previous episodes, it's not really anything specifically to do with Yale. It's more of just knowing what I'm signing myself up for the next 10 months, which is living amongst other people, which that's a whole other story within itself at this point. Living amongst other people, living in conditions that I'm not happy to live in. Last year, my room was small. This year, I'm downsizing even smaller. And then I'm sharing a bathroom with even more people than I was last year. And I'm just not excited about that. Academically, yes, I'm more than excited to learn. Like I've always said, learning has not been the problem. It's school and the way we're conditioned to operate and stress out and just be overwhelmed. And our nervous system is in overdrive and panic 24/7, or at least mine is, because I'm just not excited to go back to stressing over what is going to be my grade on this midterm, or what is going to be my GPA at the end of this semester, or let me start applying to 5, 6, 7 internships now to think about what I'm doing in the summer, which I already have. Like, I'm just not excited to live my life in a state of internal chaos. Like, I'm just not ready, and I'm not happy, and I'm not joyous and joyful about going back to that. And then the added layer on top of that is, once again, if you're a returning listener, then you already know that I didn't have the best social life at Yale, and I went through a lot of like traumatic experiences with trying to connect and like form strong bonds with people. So that's another added layer. Like, I don't have a friend group that I'm running back to. I don't have particularly strong desires to go back and like see my friends and stuff like that, because that wasn't my experience. So overall, like, I'm really not happy to go back. as soon as I landed, before we even left London, I felt myself getting more sad and agitated and irritable because I knew that leaving London and coming back to America would mean I'm about to go back to Yale. And then now that it's August 13th and I'm literally leaving home in 2 days to go serve my 10-month bid back on the very campus that I was so traumatized by just 2-3 months ago. Yeah, like it's not a happy feeling. Like that's the reality. If you want me to lie to you and tell you that I'm happy, then this ain't the place where you're gonna hear that at, because that's just not how I'm feeling. That's just not what's going on in here. I'm gonna just hope that I'm going to be okay. I am very worried for my mental health, my physical health. Those are the main two things I'm really worried about, because even when I came home in May and I got like all my checkups and stuff done, this is kind of the worst health I've been in since COVID. Like this is the worst my health has been in literally years. And my health got to this point all because of 6 months of constant stress, constant worrying, trauma. And it's like I'm about to go back into that. Now, I'm not hoping that my sophomore year experience is going to be anything like my freshman year. And I don't think it is, because I'm way more seasoned. You know, I'm not an expert at this college stuff. I'm only going into my second year. I'm not even halfway there yet. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to make the same mistakes. Damn sure not going to make the same mistakes I made last year. And I kind of like know the ropes, and I'm kind of like learning the rules of the game. College and life in general is literally just a game. And my biggest critique of the community at Yale is I feel like people know that and everyone is aware that this is all a game. But I feel like people aren't willing to give you the hint or like give you those little extra rules that you'll need to help you survive the game. I feel like everyone older kind of knows like, okay, this is what you're going to go through and this is all the stuff that you're about to go through, but they don't really tell you or prep you or give you any tips in advance. It's kind of just like you'll go through it on your own. And I don't really agree with that, because, and once again, I've said this before, I would not in any way, shape, or form just let someone or see someone going down a dark path, or see someone or know somebody is walking into something blind and not try to help them in any way that I can. So I'm saying all that to say, I'm kind of more aware of the rules to the game now. Last year, I was going to completely blind, completely oblivious, had way too much faith in people, had way too much hope in like what the situation was going to be like. And I was a little bit naive, I'm not going to lie, just because this is my first ever experience in college. But now, oh baby, I've been through enough and I learned enough to know the do's and don'ts. And I'm sure I'll make more mistakes. I'm sure I'll fall and bump my head a few more times this year, but I know for a fact it's going to be better than last year. I kind of left off my freshman year, not really getting close to, but I kind of started hanging out with some people towards like the very end, like around spring fling. So I'm interested to explore those connections. I feel like there's potential friendships laying in those, but I'm not calling nobody else my friend until like a year in. Like, you know, I learned those lessons. I think I'll be fine. I think I'll be fine. I think I'll be fine, you know? I think I'll be fine. I hope I'll be fine. I'm going to try my best to be fine. And just keep me in your thoughts. That's what this really boils down to, because I don't know what's about to happen. All I know is what I do know. Yeah, I'm going to just try to redeem myself, like I was telling you guys in the last episode. And we're just going to see, you know, we're on this journey together. You know, this is my real life that I'm telling you guys in these episodes, and y'all are listening, y'all are watching and seeing everything unfold in real time. So we'll both see how this goes. Now, for the last portion of this episode, we're going to get into and touch on what is the future of silence. I told you guys that I definitely would be bringing it back for my sophomore year, just so you guys can follow along the journey and I could always have these episodes to look back on. But it's definitely going to be in a different manner, and I'm taking like a different approach kind of to what I'm doing. So now I'm about to explain to you guys the vision and like, you know, what I see for silence and where I see this going. So first of all, just to like bring you all the way back to why I even started silence, I'm not going to go into the exact reason. If you know, you know, but to just sum everything up, I started silence because it's literally in the name, silence. Upon like a lot of reflection, I feel like my entire life, everyone, and I mean like 100% of the people around me, like there's not anyone in my life currently that I can say that like this doesn't apply to. 100% of the people in my life have either saw me or watched me or knew that I was experiencing some type of wrongdoing. And I feel like no one ever, no one has advocated for me in the way that I felt seen or heard. And if they did advocate, then it wasn't to the fullest extent. It was like, oh, like, some little shit just so you think I care, but it wasn't really like, no, like, I know your heart. I know, like, what you're going through is wrong. I see that you are actively being silenced and ignored and shut down. And I see you, I hear you, and I'm going to fight for you. I have never experienced that. It's always been me fighting for me, because my entire life, every institution I've been in has tried to silence me, has tried to diminish my experience, has tried to break me down physically, emotionally, mentally, has told me I was aggressive since I was in like fifth grade. I've been telling I was aggressive, which I don't know how a fifth or sixth grader can be aggressive. And I wasn't aggressive, but I had teachers. So that was their only, word for describing me in terms of y'all doing some BS, and I'm not going to let y'all do BS. So I'm going to speak on the BS. But that's being aggressive because I look like this and they look like that. Anyway, next topic. My entire life, I've been told that my experiences were less serious than what they was, or I've been told to just get over stuff and that, this, like, it's just a part of life. I've been told all of that. And I just kind of got tired of it. And I already knew from what I was already going through at the time I made Silence that, oh yeah, this college stuff is going to be some shit. So I better strap my seatbelt and hold on tight, because this is about to be a ride. And because of the particular position I'm in, being a Yale student and being a Black Yale student at that, and being like low income, whatever you want to call it, on financial aid, the experience I'm about to have is going to represent a lot of people's experiences that are not normally, shown in the media. So I wanted to create a platform where I personally can document what I'm going through in real time and what my experiences are. And I'm comfortable with sharing that publicly. So anyone that is going through something similar or is interested in going to an Ivy League with their person of color and they wouldn't know what it's really like, besides all the glitz and the glamour, they wouldn't know what it's really like. That's why I'm doing this. And even if I wasn't uploading these videos and these episodes to YouTube and Spotify, I would still be making them just in a more private way. But I have been documenting my life for a while now, just because I'm a very nostalgic person. I like to look back on things and be like, oh, like I was going through this at this point in my life, or oh, like I went on this trip and I went through this experience, or I had these friends at the time, or I learned this lesson in this year, So yeah, I personally just like to look back on what I'm going through and be able to learn from it. Saying that to say, I just want to address this main thing. I have never claimed to be an influencer. I have never been trying to be an influencer. I just feel like people automatically see you using social media and trying to build a platform for a particular purpose, and they automatically slap that content creation influencer title on you. And I just want to make it clear that that's not my intention, and it never was. I think I use the word influence people that look like me to apply to Ivy Leagues or specifically Yale to show you through my experience that you can do it. But it's not even influence, because I have learned, and as we've been seeing what's been going on with, the financial aid for some of these colleges and what some of these people are going through, I can't influence anyone, or I can't encourage anyone to choose anything. People have their own, preconceived notions and deep beliefs and stuff like that are going to inspire them to choose whatever they best see fit. But me personally, like I said, I feel like I'm in a unique position that I don't mind sharing publicly, because I feel like people could really learn from it, and it could really change the trajectory of whether or not someone feels the confidence within themselves to apply to an Ivy League. However, the influencer part, I never care for that. Episodes of me, literally my fourth or fifth, sixth episode, maybe, I said the virality is cool when it happens, but that's not what I'm seeking. I don't care if my video gets 100 views or it could get 600-700 views, which some of the episodes on my channel are getting and have been getting. But I don't really care about that, because I deeply believe if you're meant to be exposed to something, if you're meant to see something, if you're meant to see a video on your For You page, if you're meant to come across this quote on social media, if you're meant to see it, then you're going to see it regardless. And if you're supposed to resonate with it, if you're supposed to relate to it, then that's the experience you'll have. I'm not trying to push it in your face. I'm not trying to climb my way to the top. I'm not trying to make a career out of this. I don't want followers from it. I'm literally transitioning out of using social media. I removed 700 people off my Instagram. I privated my account, my personal Instagram account. I'm kind of over the whole social media thing. So the whole influencer thing, I kind of get offended when I fake get offended when people try to put that on me. And a lot of the times it's not in an offensive way, but I take it as that in the back of my mind, because I know that's not the purpose. The purpose is really just to document what I'm going through, and whoever could see and resonate sees it and resonate, and we all keep it pushing. I don't care if I was getting 50 views, 20 views. It touched those 20 people for a reason, or it touched those 50 people for a reason. So whatever the reason is, only they'll know. And a lot of people have reached out to me over the almost year, not even year. I still have like 3-4 months on me before it reaches a year of silence. But within the last 6-7 months I've been doing this, the almost 40, 50, probably in the 60 amount of people that reached out to me saying that these episodes made an impact on them, or these episodes related to them, or they could see myself, like they could see themselves in me, that has touched me. And that's the purpose of silence. And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. So no, it's not for content creation purposes. It's not to become the next big thing on social media. It's not to gain followers. It's not to be the next influencer. Don't attach none of that to me, because I feel like I have a greater purpose behind just wanting to have a quick claim to fame, or because I go to Yale. The overall intention for silence, because I'm gonna change my disclaimer, as you guys have heard or will hear at the end of this video. I'm not trying to influence, I'm not trying to encourage, and none of that. I'm simply just trying to document my experience and, let it reach the people that it's supposed to reach. And through this, I have definitely been able to build connections and reach out, and people have reached out to me, and we're still in contact to this day, just off the episode. And something I said in the episode that really stuck with them, and they felt seen and they felt heard by what I said. I have not had that experience my entire life. Like literally, like I said, I have never once went through something where that was very clearly wrong, and I was very clearly being done wrong, or being mistreated, and anyone around me stuck up for me in the way that I would want to be stuck up for. Like, no, you're not gonna do her like that. She's done X, Y, and Z. She don't deserve. I've never had that. So this is my way of kind of making people that have felt silence their entire life, or people that are in the unique position but feel like they can't really express the downsides of it because of the position they're in. I just want those people to feel seen and heard, and I'm proud of the community that I have been able to build based off what I'm doing with silence. With that being said, I plan to have the same upload schedule: Mondays 8 a.m. on Spotify, Mondays 5 p.m. on YouTube, because that is what the listeners have told me in the past works for them. People have literally told me that in the morning when they're getting ready for classes, or just getting ready in general, they have my episode playing in the background. Or after, a long day of the first day of the week, or after a long week, they can go on YouTube and play the episode and like listen to what I'm saying and what I'm going through. And I feel like that's effective. Y'all said it's effective, so it works for me. I'm thinking about potentially uploading less, just for the simple fact of like I am seeing the analytics, and I'm seeing like what people are resonating with the most. And at the end of the day, like I still have a whole life outside of this. I'm literally in college. I go to Yale at that. I have a job. I have all these like extracurriculars and stuff I'm involved in. So if I can reach as much people that need to be reached in a more effective way by posting what I know people are like coming for, then I'll do that. So yeah, just stay on the lookout. I'll still try to post at least twice a month, but definitely once a month, if not twice. Throughout this whole episode, it all falls down to the beginning of the summer. I was not in a good place, just because I still felt that lingering heaviness of what my first year at Yale did to me. And then over the summer, and especially going to London, I was able to heal a lot of that hurt and a lot of that trauma that I was still feeling, on top of having one of the greatest experiences of my life so far. And I have Yale to thank for that. And then now what's next is just me going back, starting my sophomore year off strong, going in better with a healthier mindset, just feeling clearer and better, within, and just letting things happen naturally. Maybe I'll find my people this year, maybe I won't. I've definitely spoken to a lot of people at Yale, and they still talking about they haven't found their people, and they possibly in a third and fourth year. So we'll just see if I get lucky, like actually lucky this year. And yes, if you're returning for season 2, thank you so much for being along this journey. When I started silence, I didn't imagine like what it would turn into, and I still feel like we have a long way to go. I'm almost at 300 subscribers on YouTube, and I have to check on Spotify, but yes, it's definitely growing. The community over here is definitely growing, and I'm glad that whatever episode attracted your attention, or whatever the reason was that you're here, I'm grateful that you're here. And I'll see you guys soon with an update of how I'm still saying my first year. That's because time has been flying so fast. But I'll definitely be back with the update of how my sophomore year is going, and what I'm feeling, what I'm experiencing. And just thank you guys so much for following along the journey with me. I'll see you guys in the next episode.